Hi, guys. Welcome to the Simple Doesn't Mean Easy podcast. We are here weekly, working at simplifying things in our lives one day at a time, one step at a time. And I know this way of simplifying things, working at eliminating some of the junk in our lives, it doesn't mean things are going to be easier, but it does make things better. I'm your host, Michelle Visser, and I am glad you're here today. We are wrapping up a 4-part series on this topic. There's just been so much to dive into and talk about, and I hope you find this final part extra encouraging. Guys, before we go any further, though, I want you to stop. Trust me, just pause what you're doing and go to solelyrested.com/flower. SOULY rested.com/FLOUR. Really do it. I'll be here. I'll be waiting when you get back. But the reason I want you to go there is there is a new grain mill available on the market that has blown me away. It is available at a price point that you will find nowhere else, and it makes the finest, most amazing fresh flour. Fresh flour contains 40 out of the 44 essential nutrients that your body needs. Using fresh flour will up the game in your kitchen, and it even can help you lose weight because it makes you feel more full. It avoids the blood sugar spikes, and it even helps with inflammation. There's so many reasons, guys, to switch over your flour to fresh flour that you have ground yourself. And with this new mill, everybody can do this. I'm not kidding. Go check it out. I even have an exclusive code for you waiting. Solely Rested, SOULY rested.com/flour, FLOUR. Solelyrested.com/flour. Okay, so when we started this series talking about toxic levels of things in our food and in our environment, I mean, we really just started with salt, is where it all started. And it was a fascinating episode, episode 142. And that led to this other kind of rabbit trail. And then last week, I was really going to wrap it up, and I just kind of ran out of time. I didn't want to make the episode go so long. So today, we're going to wrap this up with a couple ideas. We're going to talk about what cofactors are in real food. And we're going to talk about my absolute favorite drink in the world, and truly the favorite thing that I love to do in the kitchen. We're going to talk about homemade kombucha and how it plays a role in all of this. It's so good for us, and I'm going to break down the whys and how it helps with this whole idea of toxic food and toxic things in our environment. So, we last episode, which was episode 144, we talked about glutathione and how it is an antioxidant that our liver actually produces. There are very few antioxidants that our body can produce. Usually we have to intake them. But it's a fascinating antioxidant, and we talked a lot about it. Go back and listen to episode 144 for more on that. But I don't recall. I don't think we got into the fact talking about, okay, where is glutathione found? Are there foods that we can eat that we can also be getting more of this antioxidant, since it's so good at helping us detox our body? Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Glutathione is in some foods, but it's not very effective at increasing our levels of glutathione by eating the foods that have it in it, because it's actually broken down during digestion. So by the time it actually gets to our gut and into our system, it is a very tiny amount of glutathione that's helping our tissues in any way. So unfortunately, increasing your amount of food that has it in it isn't really going to make a difference. But there's more to the story. There are foods that we can eat that increase the activity of the enzymes that help the glutathione attach to toxins. So our liver is what's going to be creating our glutathione, but then what we eat can help the glutathione work better, help it do a better, more effective job at attaching to the toxins and getting them out of our body. So, what can you eat? Anything that's actually a high sulfur food is going to do this for us. Some great options are avocado, which of course is also a healthy fat bonus, oranges. Of course, you're getting your vitamin D as well. And we talked last episode about how vitamin D helps us with all of this. Spinach, tomatoes, and watermelon. Those are all great foods that are going to help our glutathione do its job. But I also want to talk today about cofactors. There are nutrient cofactors that help us get rid of the heavy metals and keep us from absorbing the heavy metals. If we're eating foods that are high in iron, calcium, vitamin C, things like lean meat and fish and eggs and beans, milk products, green vegetables, citrus, potatoes that have their skins on, these foods are all going to increase the activity of the enzymes that help the liver do its job. So not just the glutathione, but other enzymes as well. All this good real food helps our body detox itself. And here's the cool thing. All whole foods, all real foods have cofactors. They balance themselves out naturally, the food itself. A whole food is never going to be a single element in isolation. The cofactors in our whole food determine how our bodies are handling all those elements, and they balance themselves out. So the stuff we talked about in last episode, the way it all works is they worked hand in hand. And in the food that comes from the land, or the meat that we eat, or the milk products from the animals, all of them have these cofactors. And even if there's something that if you take it out by itself, like a form of lead, you'd go, wait, that's bad. That's going to hurt us. If you look closely at that food, you'll realize that bad element is not existing in isolation. It's existing side by side with these other cofactors that even out any complications and that help our bodies do the job it needs to do to get rid of the bad stuff in the food. So it's absolutely amazing. In my personal opinion, it's really nothing short of a miracle that all whole foods have these cofactors and they work together. So it all comes back to what we already knew, what we've been saying for a while, what I've been saying on this show for years. If you're eating real food, you're exercising, you're getting the sleep, you're doing the things that you already know are good for your health, then you're doing the right things. And it's all going to balance out. Our bodies are wonderfully designed and they can manage our everyday natural exposure to the natural elements. Now, the things we need to be concerned about, of course, that we've also talked about on here, are the unnatural elements, the chemicals that are man-made. That's a whole different story. But if we're talking about the real food, like the salt that we were talking about back in episode 142, if you look at the salt, it's going to have cofactors in it. For instance, lead in the salt is not going to be absorbed when there's calcium and iron and other things in that salt. And guess what? Redmond real salt is a whole lot higher in calcium and iron than it is in lead. If you look at the elements that are in the salt and what percentage they make up of the overall salt, the cofactors in there are much higher than the lead. So they balance it out and they give your body what it needs to rid itself of the lead. I found a study and I actually noted the title, and I'm going to read to you a sentence. Is it just one sentence? It is from the summary. This title is a doozy. It's going to make you want to go out and read this study right away. Trust me. You ready for this? It's the dietary strategies for the treatment of cadmium and lead toxicity. Basically, they're saying what we've been saying for the past 3, now this 4th episode. Here's what they concluded. I'm going to read this from the study. This paper reviews the evidence for protective effects of essential metals, vitamins, edible plants, phytochemicals, probiotics, and other dietary supplements against lead toxicity. And the whole study was investigating these cofactors and showing that if you're eating whole foods, you're getting what you need to detox your body. So it's pretty cool. I'll leave a link for that study. If that title really enticed you and you want to go read it, I'll leave a link in the show notes. I want to pause right here with a question for you. We talk a lot here on the show about how important simple little things can be and how one simple change can really make a huge impact over time. But do we think about the some of the most basic, simplest things in our kitchen? Do we think about the ingredient that we probably use the most? And do we make sure that we're choosing the best? I'm talking about salt. And I know when you go to the store, there are a lot of choices in front of you. But about 6 or 7 years ago, I eliminated every other choice. There is only one choice for me, and that is Redmond real salt. And actually, it's a fascinating topic that if you want to go to episode 142, we get into a whole lot of detail about the myths about salt and why real salt is important. But let me just tell you right now, please go to Solely Rested, SOULY rested.com/salt, because I want to share with you more details about this company and an amazing discount code that you can use anytime, all the time. And I've listed my 9 all-time favorite products that I always have in my kitchen from Redmond Real Salt. Believe it or not, they have a lot more than just salt, guys. Go check out these 9 products. Go to solelyrested.com/salt and make sure you enjoy that discount code as well. I want to pause this episode and ask if you are ready for the holidays. They are quickly approaching, and it's time to think about if you can be a little more intentional this holiday season. I know it's my goal to be more intentional than I typically am, hoping that the holidays don't just fly by without me really giving good thought to some things that are important to me, specifically gift giving. I don't want to give frivolous things that just provide something for the recipient to open. I want to give intentional gifts, ones that are promoting health and wellness, ones that are encouraging fulfilling hobbies and activities, ones that are getting the family together, and ones that are, of course, focused on healthy, real food. So, if you'd like to see what I'm giving as gifts this year, I would love to share the guide with you. Go to Solely Rested, SOULY rested.com/holiday. And I'm going to share with you some of my unusual, but I think gifts that will be very appreciated this year. Please go check it out, solelyrested.com/holiday. But I told you we were going to talk about 2 things this episode, not just the cofactors, but also my favorite drink in the world. We're talking about an ancient remedy that's been around for thousands of years that folks have always known was a very good aid in healthy living. And it's called kombucha. Some people call it kombucha. You might hear it referred to other ways, but I call it kombucha. I've never been a fancy person anyway. And it is fermented by a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. That's where you get the word SCOBY. And it creates probiotics in your kitchen, on your kitchen counter. You literally can grow probiotics that you can drink. And on top of that, they're absolutely delicious. If anybody tells you, by the way, that they don't like kombucha because it tastes like vinegar, then please tell them they have never made it themselves and they've never learned how to make it themselves, because there's nothing vinegary about it if you know the right tips and tricks. It's beyond delicious. You can make the flavors you want it to be. You can even make the flavor with zero cost. You can use bits and pieces and scraps of fruit that you would be throwing away, put them in your freezer, and then use that frozen fruit to flavor your second ferment of kombucha. There's also a lot of other things you can do that are super easy that cost pennies on the dollar. And if you just have to know a few simple things and get into a routine. The biggest thing that I teach in Kombucha Academy that I think is kind of life-changing when it comes to making your own kombucha is making a concentrate. You make this concentrate every 4 to 6 weeks. It only takes like 10 minutes to do it, but Then you're using that concentrate for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Whenever it's time to make more kombucha, you have exactly what you need on hand. It literally takes 5 seconds to add it and build up what you need for your next week's worth of amazing, gut healthy, nutritious, carbonated beverages that you can enjoy every day. So it literally takes minutes a week and it saves so much money to make it yourself. But the best part of making it yourself is you can make it exactly the way you want it. You choose the flavors, you decide how much carbonation you want. And you know what? If you like the vinegary taste, you absolutely can let it go until it's a little vinegary. All of those factors are under your control if you're making it yourself. So here you are creating these amazing probiotics right there on your kitchen counter, and you can make them taste exactly like you want them to. So it's a win-win times 18, I think, making your own kombucha. And I talk a lot about how kombucha is really good for gut health and all the reasons that that's important. But since about 70% of our immune system is located in our gut, the fact that kombucha feeds our gut and makes it healthy literally boosts our immunity as well. It's amazing. So it's going to help you fight off colds and flus all winter long. Did I just say flus? I think you know what I mean. And even reduces allergic symptoms in kids and adults, studies have shown. So stop taking the allergy medicine and start making some kombucha. Some studies also suggest that kombucha actually regulates blood sugar. And so much has been found recently about how important it is to keep our blood sugar levels under control and how that leads to so many other health issues if they're not under control. And one of those is actually weight gain. And they've found, not surprising, that kombucha can help people lose weight because relating to that, regulating the blood sugar. And also, there are high triglyceride levels in the body that are linked to inflammation. And researchers have found, I actually noted where this was, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill did some research on this. And they found that drinking kombucha can reduce fat acclimation and lower the triglyceride levels in a body. Pretty cool stuff. But all of that is just added bonus compared to what we're talking about today and why I'm bringing up kombucha in the middle of this whole talk about heavy metals and leads in our food. Recent findings have shown that heavy metals in our environment actually can be detoxed out of our body better and more effectively if we're drinking kombucha regularly. Because the kombucha has the probiotics in it that are doing what we've been talking about for 2 episodes, that are helping those enzymes that need assistance to do a better job at attaching to the toxins and getting them out of our body. So literally, kombucha supports our liver and helps our liver do its job of detoxing. It comes down to that. So it's really super cool that something so delicious that I already knew was really good for me, I'm learning as I'm studying everything we've been talking about the past 3 weeks now. This is the 4th week. I'm learning that, wow, I didn't even know that was a health benefit that I've been enjoying for all these years that I've been drinking my own kombucha. Specifically, I looked closer at this study and I have some notes here. I'm going to tell you specifically, according to the Cleveland Clinic, how the enzymes and the acids in kombucha are assisting our liver. First of all, there's a specific organic acid that is found in kombucha that binds to the toxins in the body and eliminates them. And specifically, this one acid makes, I thought this was interesting, makes the toxins water soluble. Toxins that otherwise would not be water soluble. When they interact with this enzyme that's in kombucha, the acid that's in kombucha, they become water soluble. And you know what that means? That means you pee them out. So literally, the toxins are being flushed away. So it's really cool. Also, there are enzymes and acids in kombucha that help the liver in all those ways we've been talking about. I just said that. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. And it detoxes our digestive system because it literally detoxes our intestines, and it cleanses the liver, which I thought was an interesting thought, that kombucha literally keeps the liver clean as part of the way that it supports the liver in helping us detox. So it's all super cool. And guess what? Kombucha Academy, it's been around for years. I've heard back from so many of you how much you love it, how you refer back to it months, years later, how just going through it quickly in a matter of a week, some of you have been experts and never looked back. I love, by the way, when I hear from you guys, all of this stuff, because it really makes me super happy. When I sat down to create Kombucha Academy, I really wasn't sure if anybody would want it. I really wasn't sure if I would, I don't know, even be able to find many people interested. But over the years, the interest in it has just grown and grown. And I think it's because over the years, we have seen all these recent studies that are showing how amazing kombucha and more kombucha is. And more people are wanting to know, wait a minute, I want to know how to do this. And so many people reach out to me and say, I almost didn't do Kombucha Academy because every kombucha I ever tasted before tasted awful. I just didn't like it. It was too much like vinegar. And then I decided if I just needed to try making it. And sure enough, it was like life-changing because it's delicious. So it makes me so happy when I hear from you guys that you wouldn't have kombucha in your life otherwise. So if you would like to know more about Kombucha Academy, go to Solely Rested, SOULY rested.com/kombucha, KOMBUCHA, Solely rested.com/kombucha. If you didn't jot that down and don't have a computer close by, go right now and grab a piece of paper or grab your computer. And by the time I get to the end of my next sentence, I'm going to tell you one more time how to find this, because seriously, I want you to check this out, see what it's about, and see if it is a resource that you need in your life. For all podcast listeners, I have a special code for you that will take 30% off the currently discounted price, because I wanted to do that for you guys. You guys are like, I mean, I don't know. Don't tell my followers on Facebook this or my followers on YouTube this, but my podcast followers, you guys are like you're my heart. You're deep in my heart. When I hear from you guys, it means a lot to me. So I definitely knew I wanted to have a special code just for you guys. And I'll tell you another secret. This code is available on all of my courses, not just what I'm talking about today. So if you want to check out Dehydrating Academy or Maple Syrup University, you can use the same code, podcast, 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 and get 30% off whatever the current discount price is going on any one of my masterclasses. So now that I let you in on that secret, I'm going to remind you where to go to check this out. Solely Rested, SOULY rested.com/kombucha, KOMBUCHA, solelyrested.com/kombucha. But even if that's not for you, you just aren't a person who's into digital courses, you just don't, it actually requires less time and investment, truly, if you do take advantage of it, because you have everything you need at your fingertips and there's no learning curve. But if you'd rather take a different route, I have lots of free resources as well. If you just go to solelyrested.com and do some searches about kombucha, you'll find a lot of free resources as well as recipes and other great stuff. So however it is that you want to dive into the world of DIY kombucha, please promise me, make me a promise, you're going to check this out, because guys, it's fantastic. I've been making my own kombucha. I love it when my tongue gets tied like that. I've been making my own kombucha for almost a decade. I can't imagine not making it. It's the most fun I have in my kitchen. It's absolutely delicious. And every single day when I go to pour my glass of kombucha, I make sure I have at least one glass a day. I literally get happy. Not kidding. So I want you to experience this. And the health benefits are through the roof, amazing. But now that I know, it's helping detox my body too. Mind you, I still have a lot to learn about detoxing. I'm looking into the water purifiers. I want to know about air purifiers. There's so many things that I want to get better at. But knowing that my glass of kombucha a day is also helping arm me against the toxins in my environment every day makes me really happy. So go check it out. And that is it for today. Actually, this is coming out a few days before Thanksgiving. I should have started the episode telling you happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you made it to the end. Hopefully, you're still listening. So you hear my salutation of greetings of happy Thanksgiving. But seriously, I hope that it's a special one for you. I hope that you have a really nice downtime kind of day in whatever that looks like, whatever really helps you reboot and recharge. Because some people I know, they reboot and recharge more when there's excitement going on. So whatever it is that recharges you, I really genuinely hope that you have some of that in your day on Thanksgiving. And I hope that it is a time that you can step back and realize not just those big things you're thankful for, but genuinely realize the small moments, the small things happening in your day that you are beyond thankful for. And I know that for some of you, it's a tough time right now. It's a tough season you're going through. Maybe it's a difficulty financially. Maybe it's a difficulty you're facing health-wise. Maybe you're having family difficulties. I know that it's even harder on Thanksgiving week and Christmas and throughout the holiday season. It's really hard. Or maybe you've lost someone. I know right after losing both of my parents, it was the hardest time of my life getting through the holidays without them. So I don't want to make that seem insignificant. I know. I've been there. I know. I know those of you who are feeling a little unhappy that the holidays are up upon us. I want to encourage you that others have been exactly where you are. And I promise you, there will be a holiday season coming up in your future that you embrace with joy. And I also want to encourage you that even in the deepest, darkest possible holiday season you might ever face, there are joys in your day and there are joys all around you. There are people that do care about you. There are friends that love you. And I hope that you have some time to sincerely notice those joys and to really be thankful for them and know that there are others out there that really do care. So that's it. I hadn't planned on getting into any of that, but I hope that maybe that was encouraging to you if you needed to hear that. I wish I could give you a hug too. Well, thanks for listening, friends. Remember, it is easy to forget how blessed we are to live this life. But God has given us a gift of time in manageable units called days. And every day we have the chance to begin again. So enjoy the simple everyday efforts. It's not easy, but it is really a good life.